Welcome to the Power of Influence Leadership in Action, the podcast that transforms leadership research into practical tools for managers, executives, and founders who want to inspire loyalty, strengthen performance, and build cultures that last. I'm Paulette Sterling, and today we're exploring a topic that sits at the heart of every thriving organization: the psychology of commitment. Why people choose to stay, strive, and support the mission, even when the work is demanding and the environment is changing. This episode is grounded in decades of research, including the work of Porter, Steers, Mode, Bolian, Mayer, Allen, O'Reilly, and Chapman. And of course, the findings from my very own study on influence behaviors and organizational commitment. Let's dive into it. Let me take you into a real scenario, one that mirrors what many Caribbean organizations experience today. A mid sized financial services company is undergoing a major transformation. New regulations, new digital systems, new customer expectations. The pressure is real. Two employees, let's call them Marcia and Devon, work in the same branch, under the same manager, with the same workload. But their levels of commitment couldn't be more different. Marcia arrives early, checks in with her teammates, and takes ownership of customer issues even when they fall outside of her job description. She speaks positively about the company even when things are tough. She believes in the mission. Devon, on the other hand, does the bare minimum. He avoids extra tasks, keeps his head down, and quietly counts the days until something better comes along. He's physically present, but emotionally absent. Same environment, same policies, same manager. So, what's different? Commitment. Not the kind that comes from a contract, but the kind that comes from identification, belief, and emotional connection. This is what organizational psychologists have been studying for more than 50 years. Why do some employees go beyond compliance while others retreat into self protection? And more importantly, for you as a leader, what shapes that difference? And how much influence do you actually have? Spoiler alert, more than you think. Let's ground this in the research. What is organizational commitment? Porter, Steers, Mode, and Bolian defined it as the strength of an individual's identification with and involvement in a particular organization. So, in simple terms, commitment shows up in three ways. One, agreement and acceptance of the organization's goals and values. Second, willingness to exert effort on behalf of the organization. And third, a desire to maintain membership in the organization. This is not about blind loyalty, it's about alignment, psychological alignment. Three forms of commitment. Let's look at them. Mayer and Allen expanded the concept into three components. Affective commitment. That's like saying, I want to stay. Continuance commitment. That's like, I need to stay. Normative commitment. That's like, I feel I ought to stay. Affective commitment is the gold standard. That's where you say, I want to stay. That's where performance, resilience, and loyalty thrives. So, what drives commitment? Research shows that commitment is shaped by personal factors, job characteristics, organizational culture, leadership behaviors, and most importantly, the quality of the manager subordinate relationship. This is where your influence becomes powerful. Employees interpret the organization through you, your tone, your decisions, your fairness, your commitment, your communication, your emotional intelligence. Your influence behaviors, that's the tools you use to gain cooperation and agreement. It shapes how people feel about the organization itself. So, why does commitment matter? High commitment leads to better performance, lower turnover, greater resilience, more innovation, and stronger customer experiences. While low commitment leads to quiet quitting, resistance to change, high absenteeism, poor service, and a toxic subculture. Commitment is not a soft concept, it's a strategic asset. And here's the key insight for you: commitment is not created by policies, it's created by relationships. Here are 3 ways you can strengthen commitment in your team this month. Number 1, connect task to meaning. People don't commit to task, they commit to purpose. Instead of saying, here's what we need to do, try saying, here's why this matters to our customers, to our team, and to the future. Meaning fuels commitment. The second thing you can do is build micro moments of trust. Commitment grows in small interactions. How you respond to mistakes, whether you listen fully, whether you acknowledge effort, whether you explain decisions, whether you treat people with dignity. So ask yourself, what story does my behavior tell about how much I value my team? The third thing you could try is to strengthen identification. People commit when they feel seen, valued, connected, part of something bigger. Try this simple practice. Ask each team member, what makes you feel most connected to the organization? And what makes you feel disconnected? Then take one visible action based on what you hear. Commitment grows when people feel their experience matters. I want you to reflect on this. When in your career did you feel most committed to an organization? And what did your leader do that made that possible? And then ask yourself, how can I recreate that experience for someone on my team this week? You can share your reflections with me on LinkedIn using the hashtag Influence in Action. I can highlight themes in an upcoming Insight Drop. Commitment is not compliance, it's belief in action. And as leaders, we have the privilege and responsibility to shape the conditions where that belief can grow. So if today's episode resonated with you, subscribe to the Power of Influence Leadership in Action podcast. Share this episode with a leader navigating change. And join the Legacy Impact Circle at sterlingbusinessmanagement.com for deeper tools, bonus episodes, and leadership resources. Next month, we'll explore the Leader Member Exchange, a dynamic relationship that quietly determines whether people lean in or pull away. Until then, remember, leadership is lived in moments. Choose your moment with intention.